Hey guys, a quick PSA before the video begins. So I'm kind of sorry for the grainy video texture. I'm experimenting with a little bit of different lighting for this video just because I don't like how bright that one is in my videos. So I'm using a little bit of natural light, just the end of the day light in California combined with a lamp. And we're going to see how that works over the course of the video. And then also, winter state of the channel is probably going to be live streamed 2 or 3 weeks. Details on the Discord, and I'll probably make a short on YouTube just to announce it like a day before. So keep your eyes peeled for that. And this is probably also going to be like the first main upload for this channel since Jay Stark died, which is like a month ago. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoy the video. It's like a purge. LA Police Union head warns tourists stay away from city. Uh, a police union leader had strong words on Tuesday about the state of crime in Los Angeles. James McBride, head of a LA Police Protective League, warns tourists against visiting. We can't guarantee your safety. It's really out of control, McBride told CBS Los Angeles. I said it to people before. It's like the movie Purge. Instead of 24 hours to commit your crime, these people have 365 days to commit whatever they want. McBride is, of course, referring to the 2013 horror film where all crime, including murder, is decriminalized for one day out of the year. The police chief disagreed, but as I'm going to show you in a minute, he's not exactly in the right, and McBride has a bit of a point here. LA, in the recent months, has been a dumpster fire, to put it lightly. And also, to say the least, as someone who lives in California, the situation is getting a lot worse by the day. In fact, I just had a conversation with people coming home from school about this topic. So, why do they say it's like a purge? Of course, in the movie Purge, if you've never seen it, the fascistic government decrees one night out of the year we may cleanse our souls, and all crime, including murder, is legal for one day. I think it's actually one night. It's 12 hours, not 24. But after that, you can steal whatever you want, and afterwards, you're not going to get prosecuted for it. Whatever you steal is yours. You can kill anybody you want. You're not going to get prosecuted for it. You can basically do anything you want short of killing government officials and using like really destructive weapons, and you're fine. And LA is, it's quickly turning into that. From Crosstown, murder rate soars in Los Angeles. The 179 homicides in the first 6 months of the year is the highest total in more than a decade. And keep in mind, LA, the first 6 months of the year, we call that the better half, because in the recent half, it's gone way higher. In fact, the past 3 months have made this statistic here look like a cakewalk. So, last year, the city of LA recorded more than 300 murders for the first time in more than a decade. When 2020 ended, there had been 343 homicides. Halo, I'm looking at you. A 34% increase from the previous year. This year, the numbers could be even worse. In fact, they probably will be even worse. In the first half of 2021, the better half, homicides continue to climb at a dramatic pace. There were 179 murders between January 1st and June 30th, according to publicly available data, which means there could be more. From the Los Angeles Police Department. That marks a 31.6 increase from the same period last year and a 38.8 rise from the 299 or 129 homicides in the same time frame in 2019. The 2021 figure is the highest number of murders reported in the last half of the year in more than a decade. The number of killings began spiking shortly after the onset of the pandemic. January was the deadliest month of 2021. Actually, no, now that's November, with 39 people killed. I believe in November that number shot up to uh it was in the low 50s. In June, there were 38 homicides according to LAPD. As homicides are on the rise, we are working with community outreach groups such as gang intervention groups, like They Help, to address the spike in violence, said LAPD department, or LAPD detective, my bad, Megan Aguilar. We continue to encourage the community to report any information they have related to homicides through a variety of means. Well, you see, the problem is the Democrats and the liberal government in LA, the mayor is extraordinarily leftist, have handicapped the police to such an extent that they literally can't do anything anymore. They lack the ability to keep the city safe. In fact, if you go into, say, a Best Buy, because I had a friend who worked at a Best Buy and saw this happen, and this was way before the pandemic, works at a Best Buy, and if you come in, you steal a bunch of merchandise, and the total comes out to under $150 for, or, no, under $1,000 for what you steal, then you can't be charged with a crime. I'm serious. The police can't even arrest you. That's the BS that is going on in California. But that's all in the past. People have just now realized that they can take this to an extreme and not get caught. Flash mob robberies roiling U.S. retailers, traumatizing workers. And why is this guy wearing a balaclava, you might ask? Or not a balaclava, but something to protect his identity. Well, it's because the gangs will target security members and police in California, and especially LA. They will find who these people are and they will kill them, like in their homes. It's happened more times than we here in California like to admit. So even security guards have taken to wearing these masks to protect their identities. It's not even for COVID, it's just to protect your identity. Experts say the brazen crimes, which involve dozens of thieves carrying weapons and breaking glass, are likely being coordinated on social media apps. A spate of brazen store heists in which organized mobs have hit stores as varied as Nordstrom, Best Buy, Louis Vuitton, and Home Depot has shaken the retail industry and created fresh challenges for law enforcement, which they're basically unable to deal with. As one cop put it recently, we can't even book these guys before we're releasing them because they will literally go arrest criminals, and then before they can even book them in a jail, they're released because the laws here catch and release. You can't hold anybody, you can't charge anybody, and even if you did, DA wouldn't take the case. While large-scale smash and grabs have been on the rise this year, and that includes San Francisco, experts say they hit critical mass in late November when stores were piled high with holiday inventory. On Black Friday alone, a crew of 8 made off with $400 worth of sledgehammers, crowbars, and hammers from a Home Depot in Lakewood, California. It's actually not too far from where I live. And also, what do you think they're using those sledgehammers and those crowbars for? Well, you're going to see in a sec. A group ransacked I'm not even going to try and pronounce that name, boutique in Los Angeles, and roughly 30 people swarmed a Best Buy near Minneapolis grabbing electronics. Retail executives and security experts say the rise of such robberies, which have gone viral online and in some cases spurred copycats, is the culmination of several factors, including shortage of security guards. Gee, I wonder why. Reluctance by police and prosecutors to pursue shoplifting offenders. Well, They can't because the DA won't prosecute and because cops can't even book them. So these guys, they know they're not going to jail. They know that they're not going to get charged. So if you just go and ransack a store, nothing happens to you. They also coincided with a pullback from pandemic era protocols that limited number of people who could enter a store at one time. That's an interesting statistic because I don't think people like this are going to be very worried about violating COVID protocols since they A, don't work in the first place, B, are criminals. These people are criminals, so they obviously don't care about the rules of the place that they're breaking into. And C, well, because they're criminals and they don't give a damn about the law for any reason whatsoever. The incidents have spooked workers, retailers say, as they can involve dozens of people swarming in with crowbars, guns, and other weapons and breaking glass. Some have resulted in injuries. Two Nordstrom's employees were assaulted and one was pepper sprayed on November 20th after an estimated 80 people rushed the Walnut Creek store. 80 people ransacked that store. Think about that. That's how organized these mobs are. Best Buy chief executive Corey Berry says the high-profile events have made it more difficult to hire staff, particularly in shoplifting hotspots along the West Coast. This is a real issue that hurts and scares real people, she said during an earnings call last week. This is traumatizing our associates and is unacceptable. But will anything be done? I highly doubt it. Law enforcement officials say social media is increasingly playing a role in the organization and promotion of such events. Several recent store robberies in the San Francisco area, including at Burberry, Bloomingdale's, Yves Saint Laurent, Walgreens, and Fendi, were likely organized on social media apps, said Fran Clater, Director of Communications for the California Highway Patrol, which has a task force dedicated to investigating organized retail theft. She said the agency has investigated similar incidents in which the thieves don't know one another in advance. The crimes in those cases were organized by a specific suspect that used a social media messaging application to plan and execute the offense. And are those people being censored? Nope. Think about that. The guys who are literally going and stealing stuff in organized mobs are not being censored, but conservatives are. But wait, there's more.
So what you're about to see is footage from a Santa Monica storefront, or actually several of them, which over the past few weeks have been hit quite severely. Santa Monica, for all of my viewers not in California, is a rather well-off shopping area of LA, and it's actually also pretty close to where I live. Pretty trashed, as you can see. Now let's move down to some of the other footage. Cops are barricading off a street that has been recently attacked by looters. This guy's just made off with a bunch of merchandise with plates on his car. I apologize for the language. I have no way of censoring it at the moment. And then I think there's earlier footage of just all the crowd that's just looting stuff. These are all looters, all of them. You can see it's just a mop going from place to place and just smashing and grabbing everything. Remember the hammers they stole from Home Depot? All those cops, all that gear, all that taxpayer money, and they can't stop these people. Can't do a thing to them. Man, you mess with an REI, you are the lowest scum on earth. Granted, nobody can actually afford anything in an REI regardless, but nevertheless, it's a really cool store if you've never been in one. And these people are despicable. These are all looters. All of them. And they're just walking around casually because they know even if they get arrested, which they won't, they're not going to get prosecuted. Nothing's going to happen to these guys. Most likely, they won't even get touched by the cops. Well, that's quite the haul. Look at that dude's pants, too. Let me back this up like a half second. Look at this dude's pants. You see somebody like this in LA, you run the other way because these people are gang members. They wear their pants like this so that they can conceal weapons. Either that or they're just high. And they're baggy pants. They wear them real low to the point where their behind is sticking out. And they've got guns, knives, everything you can think of in there. This is how you ping at least a crackhead, if not a gang member. This guy's up to no good. But I think that you get the picture so far that this is really bad. And I'll link the full video that you can see from F-Spot here on in the video description below. But never am I to one to end the story off without at least some kind of moral, if not a good happy ending or a good story. So we have would-be robber allegedly pulls knife on Compton man who was just walking to his car in his driveway, but the victim has a gun and shoots the culprit dead. Now, Compton is widely regarded here in California as probably one of the worst areas of LA possible to be in. That's not to say anything about the people there, it's just the area is really bad. It has been for a while, it probably will continue to be. Now, Compton is honestly, I don't even know why they report murders in Compton anymore because there's so many on just a weekly basis. But self defense, as we see in the Kyle Rittenhouse trial, is a very dangerous thing to the left. It means that they can't get their mob justice. It means that criminals are intimidated by their victims, and that there is a line in the sand between normal people and the just anarchy and just BLM, Antifa, rioters, looters, what everything. So a homeowner exited his Compton, California residence near 15th block or 1500 block of West 156th Street around 6:15 a.m. Tuesday and was entering his vehicle in the driveway when a knife-wielding individual described by authorities as a Hispanic male in his 30s confronted the homeowner in an apparent robbery attempt. However, the homeowner apparently saw the untouchables. He was armed with a gun. Authorities said the alleged attacker, perhaps not a fan of the film. The sheriff's office said the homeowner fired at the knife-wielding man, who deputies found suffering from several gunshot wounds to the upper torso upon arrival at the scene. The suspect, whom authorities did not name, was pronounced dead at the scene. Moral of the story is, when criminals go after people who are armed, they A, end up dead, or B, never try that again. Because they know that if they try it again, there's a chance that, oh, they're going to end up getting shot again. I'm sorry, we are in the 21st century. It is simply impossible to prevent people from getting weapons. If I really wanted, see that back there? I could make a weapon with that. I'm not going to because I'm an outstanding citizen. But if I wanted to, I could. Now, if these people really, really want to get their hands on a weapon, a gun specifically, it's not that hard, to be honest. It's really not. With the advent of 3D printing and with the booming black market down in Mexico and that's just flooding guns and drugs across our southern border, and yes, guns are coming too, it's not that hard for criminals to get their hands on firearms or dangerous weapons. That means that the only line in the sand that will work against these people is arming the citizenry. Because when you have an armed citizenry, criminals have to be much more careful about their targets. They have to be much less outright and just destructive. Because they know that if they just go around rampantly committing crime all the time, there's a much higher chance that they are going to get killed or at least shot. And nobody wants to get shot. At least I think. Anyways, guys, I think that's going to wrap it up for today's video. The moral of the story, get out of LA, get out of California, stay armed, and stay safe. I'll see y'all later.